Welcome back to the Wizard Shop, and actually we're at Crazy D's desk. He's actually on vacation this week. He's not here, and I was just getting caught up on some emails, but it made me think of 6 cars that I really hated working on. We're going to list those today. Let's get started. So over the many years I've been running a shop or just been working on cars in general, I can definitely come up with 6, probably more than 6. We're going to share with you 6 cars that I just really hated working on them. And when they were done and I could get them out of the shop, it was literally, I was jumping for joy. I just really didn't want to work on those cars for whatever reasons. There's various reasons. We're going to go through them. So without further ado, the first one is a 98 Dodge Dakota. And really there was nothing wrong with the truck as far as working on the truck. I don't hate working on Dodge Dakotas. I don't have a problem with those. But this one was owned by a local farmer. This is back when I was working in a shop, who owned pigs. And he knew he needed to bring his truck into the shop for some suspension work, and his blower motor and several things were not working right. But he decided that morning to go out to his lot and feed the pigs and drive through all the pig slop and the pig poop and everything that's out there, caked up the wheel wells. And then he brought the truck to us fully loaded, literally loaded with pig poop. Now today, in the shop today, I would turn that job down. I would say, take your car to a pressure washer or somewhere, a car wash, and take care of this, bring it back. I'd be happy to work on your truck. But the shop I was working at the time, they were kind of farmer-oriented people that owned the shop. So they just said, at the time I wasn't Car Wizard, I was Dave. So they said, Dave, deal with it. Or go find another job. It's like, all right, so I did it. And the whole time it was just, you guys can imagine, I don't need to go into gross details, but it was not pleasant. It was nasty. I put one of those little masks on, like a 3M, basically like a COVID mask type thing, and did the best I could. I got the job done as quickly as I could, actually faster than normal because I wanted the thing out of there. And it was gone. And after the truck left, I spent literally 15 minutes sweeping up the dried up pig poop off the ground. I hated that job. And today, I have memories of that when we have a customer who might be a farmer, says, hey, I'm bringing in my truck. I'm like, hold on a minute here. This needs to be a clean truck when it arrives. I will not have my mechanics working on, it could be bacteria or organisms or things on it. It's disgusting. It's like, no, we're not doing that. So let me get this email out real quick, and then we'll carry on with the last 5. Hello? Oh my goodness, I just spent like 15 minutes typing up this email to order some parts, and then it decides to crash, right? Oh my goodness. Well, do you ever have those days where worlds seem to be attacking you from every angle? Just like this. Or everything you do seems to be wrong. We all have those times in our life where we could use a little help and support. Mrs. Wizard and I have seen our fair share of people struggling in life. I remember there were guys in the Army with me that really struggled adjusting to Army life, and their answer to their problems was to drink them away, sadly. When Mrs. Wizard was still teaching, she saw so many teens in her classes that were just miserable. Could you imagine going through your teen years today? I can't, at least not without some form of support. So something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a regular person who lives in this world who's going through a rough time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. They work very hard to match you with the right therapist. Which we all know that finding the right professional, be that a car mechanic or a therapist, can be really hard, especially when you have limited options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's so easy to sign up and get matched up with a therapist. All you have to do is click the link in the description below or go to betterhelp.com/carwizard. Clicking that link gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like finding a car wizard, if you don't really fit in with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. So if you're struggling just like the guys from my unit in the Army or the teens in Mrs. Wizard's classroom, please consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/carwizard. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this channel. And now back to the final 5 cars that I really hated working on. The next one is a mid-80s VW Rabbit. It was a cabriolet, actually. This is when we were in a small shop in Halstead. You guys have watched the first season of Car Issues. You would see that small shop. This is before I had my YouTube channel. And actually, here's a picture of that shop. It's not very pretty. But you got to start somewhere. At the time, I did not own that building. I was renting from a landlord, and the landlord brought by a couple months later after I'd started this Rabbit, or cabriolet. It had been sitting for probably a decade. It didn't run. Everything was worn out. I normally would have said no. I don't do restorations. I don't work on this type of stuff. But what do you do when it's your landlord and he could get angry and say, you know what, get your stuff and get out then? So I was really between a rock and a hard place there. I said, okay, bring it in. It probably was going to be here for a year, and it literally was there for a year. But everything we took apart just crumbled. Everything that we tried to repair just moved on to the next thing down the line, and that was broke. And then the next thing, that was broke, and this didn't work, and that didn't work. Luckily, the landlord wasn't too concerned about money. He's like, whatever, here's $5,000, here's $2,000, here's $3,000. I don't care. I want this car back running again. I just really hated working on that car because I knew even when it's done, it's still going to be an old car that was neglected and abandoned for 10 years. It's still going to have issues. We're not doing a frame-off restoration. We're just getting it back on the road is all we're doing, and that never does go well. This is one of those situations where it had sentimental value, and that can really break someone's bank. It can really waste a lot of money. I did get that one up and running by the end of the year. It actually did run and drive again. The AC worked. Everything worked on it. It probably wouldn't work for long, but that was also the time that we moved to this shop, and obviously I didn't bring that Rabbit with me. I said, hey, I'm done with you, bro. I'm done with your car. It's staying there. It's running and driving. But really at the end of everything, when it was said and done, he spent more money getting that car running than he could have just went and bought one that was already fully restored. Probably double. But you know, I wasn't in a place to say you need to stop because I didn't want to get kicked out. So that's a lot of reasons why I don't do restorations here in the shop. I definitely did not enjoy getting that one on the road again. The third one is actually Apollo 911. Hoovies from Hoovies Garage. You know, you guys watched a video where I LS swapped his Porsche 911. I didn't have a problem doing the job. I don't have a problem doing that work for Tyler. I enjoyed helping him out. The thing that I did not enjoy is that it was advertised as a kit from Renegade Hybrids that all instructions are there, all wiring diagrams, everything is set up. All you need to do is just install it. And that was a complete lie. Every time I called them and said, what did you guys do here or there? How did you make this work? And their answer was always, however you figure it out, whatever you choose. It's like, no, it's not what I choose. You guys have done this. You've been through this. You have running, driving LS swap Porsches. What does this wire do? How do I meld these systems together? How do I make this work? Well, it's just whatever you choose to do. It's what. Finally, I had to bumble my way through it and figure out their kit and make it match to what's there. And it worked. It still runs and drives today. It's one of his favorite cars. It's so powerful. It's fast. And again, I didn't hate working for Tyler. What I hated was the situation that this company put us in. And he had a deadline. He wanted to take this thing on a trip and take it to a car show. Obviously, we didn't make it in time because I was struggling. I was like, I told him, I was like, I don't have any instructions here. There's a bunch of parts. I don't even know what goes where. I just had to figure it all out, but luckily I did get it running. The nice thing is right behind my shop at the time was a hardware store that I used. And I walked back and forth lots of trips, getting this bolt, that bolts, fittings, getting hydraulic lines made, getting this done. And finally, I got it running and driving. And again, I think it was a cool project, but what was presented to me to work with, I really hated it. I really did not like that. So on to the next. The next one is also a Hoovy's garage car. It was the Russian Bentley. You guys remember it came from Russia. It was like a mob boss's Bentley Continental. And it had been driven through a muddy field. It had been beat up. But as we're working on this, everything that I was finding was broken or caked with mud. And I hated the job because I knew as much as Hoovy wants this thing to run, as much as money he's going to put into this, it's never going to be a viable car. It's never going to be a good car. It ended up going to Freddie Tavares, and he actually had to pull the engine out and go through and do a whole lot of things that it really needed to be done, that Hoovy really wasn't interested in going that deep into it. And I think they did get it running or whatever, but it still was never a beautiful, perfect Bentley again, and it probably never will be again. So I really did not enjoy working on that one. On to the next. This is also when I was working at a shop near Halstead. It is a red 92 Ford Escort. This thing was rusted so badly, the subframe, you could put your hand in it. It was like a tunnel. And if you tapped on the bottom of the car too hard with your finger, pieces would fall off. It was literally dangerous. It was almost like the Flintstones car where your feet can touch the ground. It was really a piece of junk. But this guy, again, had sentimental value or something. I don't know what his situation was, why he thought that he needed to keep this car running. It was like a self-humility type thing. It was really weird. But thousands and thousands, I think $10,000 probably went into this car, and it was only worth $2 or $1. It was used to deliver mail. It was used to do lots of different things, driving around. And it would come in and say, they would frequently tell the shop owner, would tell him, hey, for this much money you can go get another car. And he would say, nope, I want this one fixed. And again, I wasn't the shop owner there. I would have kicked that out of the shop very quickly. I would have put an end to that very quickly. But this boss did not, and he catered to this person, and we fixed it every time. But we also put on the ticket that it's a danger. You could wreck in this car. It's literally a danger. He didn't care. He kept delivering the mail. He kept doing his job or whatever it does in this really crappy car. And we would be working, we fixed something. It's been gone for 2 or 3 months. We're like, well, hopefully that thing never comes back. And it never failed. On a Friday, you're in a good mood. It's payday. And then here comes the red Ford Escort rolling in. You're like, oh my goodness, again? And again, like I said, I didn't have authority to say no, so I had to work on it. And on to the final one. It's actually not really a car, but it's actually a Heston Swather. Again, like I said, it was in a farming community that I worked at this mechanic shop. And the air conditioner would quit on this Heston Swather, and it had a Cummins 4BT engine in it. This customer would bring it in 2 or 3 times a year, especially right before harvest. I need this fixed. The AC isn't working. I need this and that taken care of so I can get my harvest done. And he would always say, I don't have any money right now, but as soon as harvest comes in, I'll get you guys paid up. And the boss at the time said, okay, it was always needed to be really fast, done really quickly. And the guy would be very picky about everything we did. But he wasn't even paying the bill till months later. And I found out the next year when he brought it back again, the boss told me, he said, well, he still hasn't even paid me from last year. And I was like, okay, we probably shouldn't work on it. And he got mad at me. He says, I run the shop, and you're going to work on it. I was like, but the guy owes us like $1,500. He said, there's the door if you don't like it. So we worked on it. 2 or 3 years went by, we didn't get paid. I was like, what the heck is going on? Every time that thing would roll in, I was like, I really hate this situation. I hate that this customer's taking advantage of these people, and this guy should have been kicked to the curb a long time ago. It's not uncommon for farmers to have those relationships with service industries where they say, you know, when harvest comes along, I'll get you paid up. And they do. They take care of it. But this guy didn't. He took advantage of the situation. Finally, after 3 years, even the boss got tired of it. And he had to go knocking on the guy's door and like, where is my money? Or I'm going to come take your swather. And finally, the guy got it paid up after being threatened. And then he brought it again a few months later, need more work done. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. I bet he's not going to pay for another 2 or 3 years. And we'll have to go through. And I left after that, not long after that. I don't know what happened, and I really don't care what happened, but I really hated working on that thing. It wasn't even a car. It's like, I came here to work on cars, not farm equipment. But, you know, I didn't have much of a say. A lot of these cars that I took on or worked on is when we were first getting started in our shop. The old saying, beggars can't be choosers. I had to take what was coming through the door. I had bills to pay. We're at a place now, it's not that we're trying to be elitist or anything like that, but for the liability of the shop and also for the satisfaction of the employees and their job, doing their job every day and being happy to come to work every day, you want to keep good employees. I have good employees in the shop. I don't need to piss them off and have them quit by making them work on trash. So, now we're able to look at different situations, different vehicles, requests that come through the shop and say, no, we're really not the shop for that, or no, this doesn't belong here, or recommend them another shop to take it to, possibly have better luck there. But this is just some of the stories of the 6 cars I really hated working on. I'll always remember them. Someday when I'm an old man and I can barely even walk anymore, I'll probably still be able to tell you these 6 cars that I really hated working on. So
really, you're going to be an old man and I'm still going to be hearing these old stories?
Probably, because people are going to be asking, you know, you were the car wizard years ago? Yes. I got stories for you too.
That's my breakfast table, guys. My breakfast table in 30 years.
So anyways, thanks for watching. If you want to know what kind of tools and things we've used over the years or that we use in the shop now, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because we got bus videos and all kinds of really cool videos coming down the way. Thanks for watching. Wake up!